For thousands of years, various cultures have had figures to represent death. One of the most common and enduring of these is the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper is a widely recognized symbol of death and the afterlife, often portrayed as a cloaked figure carrying a scythe. This iconic figure has been a part of human culture and mythology for centuries, and its origins can be traced back to various religious and cultural beliefs. But how and when did this imagery come to be associated with death? One of the earliest illustrations of the Grim Reaper can be found in ancient Greek mythology, where the god of death, Thanatos, was often portrayed as a winged figure wielding a sword. Similarly, in Roman mythology, the god of death was known as Orcus, who was often seen as a horned demon with a bident. These figures were believed to bring death and usher the souls of the deceased to the afterlife. The Grim Reaper seems to have appeared in Europe during the 14th century. It was during this time that Europe was dealing with what was then the world's worst pandemic, the Black Death, believed to be the result of the plague. It is estimated that about 1/3 of Europe's entire population perished as a result of the pandemic, with some areas of the continent suffering far greater losses than others. The original outbreak of the plague occurred during 1347 to 51, and outbreaks then recurred several other times after that. So clearly, something that the surviving Europeans had on their mind, and it is not surprising that they conjured an image to represent it. In Christian tradition, the Grim Reaper is often associated with the concept of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, who are described in the book of Revelation. The 4th horseman, Death, is often painted as a pale figure riding a pale horse carrying a scythe. This picture has become synonymous with the Grim Reaper in modern culture. In the 15th century, the Danse Macabre or Dance of Death became a popular artistic motif in Europe. This macabre dance was often seen in art, literature, and even in plays, and featured a procession of people from all walks of life being led to their deaths by the Grim Reaper. The Danse Macabre was intended to remind people of the transience of life and the inevitability of death. In the 16th and 17th centuries, the Grim Reaper continued to be a popular symbol of death, particularly in Europe. During this time, he was often mentioned in art and literature as a skeletal figure carrying a scythe and wearing a black cloak. This image has remained popular to this day and has been used in countless depictions of death in popular culture. In addition to the religious and cultural origins mentioned earlier, the Grim Reaper also has roots in folklore and superstition. In many cultures, there were stories of a figure who would appear to mark a person for death. For example, in German folklore, there was a legend of the Totenfrau, or death woman, who would appear to people who were close to death and lead them to the afterlife. Similarly, in Irish folklore, there was the Banshee, a female spirit who would appear to foretell someone's death with her mournful wailing. In Scandinavian folklore, there was the Valkyrie, a group of female figures who would choose who would die in battle and bring them to Valhalla. These figures were often deemed as otherworldly, with supernatural powers and the ability to move between worlds. They were often associated with death and the afterlife and were believed to play a role in guiding the souls of the deceased to their final resting place. The Grim Reaper, as we know it today, likely evolved from these various traditions and beliefs. In the Middle Ages and Renaissance, there was a growing fascination with death and the afterlife, fueled in part by the Black Death and other pandemics. This fascination manifested in the art, literature, and folklore of the time, with the Grim Reaper becoming a popular motif. Each part of this iconic outfit means something and has become symbolic for various things over the years. The scythe itself is a symbol of death that has been used in various cultures throughout history. In ancient Egypt, the god Anubis was often depicted carrying a sickle, which was used to harvest souls. In Greek mythology, Cronus was a god who carried a sickle, which he used to castrate and depose his father Uranus. The use of the scythe in association with the Grim Reaper may have been influenced by these earlier traditions as well as by the agricultural practices of the time. The scythe was a common tool used for harvesting crops, and its association with death and the Grim Reaper may have been a way to symbolize the idea of a harvest of souls. The black cloak worn by the Grim Reaper is another important element of the figure's imagery. Black has long been associated with death and mourning in many cultures, and the use of a black cloak for the Grim Reaper may have been a way to emphasize the figure's connection to death. The skeletal hands and face, as well as the glowing red eyes, suggest that this monster has not only been to the fiery depths of hell, but has come back to take others with him. At times, he is also shown holding an hourglass, waiting for the grains of sand to run out before he brings down his blade to snuff out their life. In modern times, the Grim Reaper has been seen in a variety of different ways in popular culture. In movies and TV shows, he is often portrayed as a menacing figure who appears at the moment of death. In video games, he is often depicted as a powerful boss enemy who must be defeated in order to progress through the game. The Grim Reaper has also become a popular symbol in the goth and heavy metal subcultures. In conclusion, the Grim Reaper has been a symbol of death and the afterlife for centuries, with its origins traced back to various religious and cultural beliefs. From the ancient Greek and Roman depictions of death gods to the Christian four horsemen of the apocalypse, the Grim Reaper has taken on many forms throughout history. However, it is the medieval and Renaissance depictions of the Grim Reaper as a skeletal figure carrying a scythe that have become most closely associated with the symbol in modern times. Despite its dark and foreboding imagery, the Grim Reaper has become an enduring cultural icon that continues to fascinate and terrify people to this day. The origins of the Grim Reaper are complex and multifaceted. The figure has evolved over time, drawing on various religious, cultural, and folkloric traditions. Today, the Grim Reaper remains a powerful symbol of death and the afterlife, inspiring fear and fascination in equal measure. Thanks for watching, guys, and hope you enjoyed the video. Please continue to support us by liking our videos and subscribing to the channel. See you soon.